I looked down, it was gone.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is time again, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, out here at the Wisconsin State Fair, looking at the milk cows. I have a question, Charlie. I know we got to get to Drew Wagner. We'll go inside the clubhouse here momentarily. Do people just not drink a lot of milk anymore? What is going on?
I drink milk.
I remember back in the day, that milk house line was constant all day, man. There were people in line waiting for all the different flavors of milk. There are way too many periods I look over there ain't nothing going on. I do not get it.
I would argue that 93-degree weather is not the best temperature to be drinking milk, personally.
Why?
It sits in my stomach. I know that. That's what I would say. But
oh, man, I drink milk in any weather. It don't matter
I
to me.
get cheese curds in my stomach after a while.
I love. It's a cheese curd state. What's the issue? All right, let's go inside the clubhouse.
What's the latest on the crew? Let's go inside the clubhouse with Drew Wagner of Forbes Sports on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Inside the clubhouse is brought to you by Focus Baseball. Sign your kids up now for July open tryouts at focusbaseball.com. Ages 6 to 17.
All right, our guy, Drew Wagner. Follow him on Twitter at @ByAndrewWagner. We have to chop this along so he doesn't miss talking to Shelby Miller for the leadoff show coming up today, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook from 6 to 7 with Tommy Wirtz. I don't want him to miss that. I got to get your thoughts on our poll question today. It's hard-hitting poll question as we've ever had. So Sean Casey, the former first baseman, on his podcast called the Brewers Fire Ants. So we put up a poll question as far as which one fits the Brewers in your mind. Sean Casey said the Brewers are Fire Ants. I said Jaguars, maybe a better description. Charlie went with ostriches. I don't know. And then the other one is other. You can pick whatever you like and comment below. What would you say, Mr. Wagner?
I think Fire Ants is pretty good. Mosquito might be pretty good. Brewers just seem to be a pain in everyone's rear end. The way that they play, the way that they win, the fact that they're winning. So I think maybe mosquito would be the apropos term.
Somebody else said mosquito, too, in the comments.
Oh, really? Yeah, okay, good. So Wagner's got another Twitter account? Do you have a burner account, Wags? You got like 7 burner accounts?
All my insider action.
Oh, good. Yeah, all right, good. Give me those in the break so I can follow them. Hey, Wags, you're down there at American Family Field like you always are. So what is going on with Logan Henderson? Inflammation on the elbow. As Charlie pointed out earlier, that always tends to be a precursor to major elbow issues later on. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that one kind of caught me off guard, too, when they announced it at 2 o'clock. We're going to talk to Pat Murphy in about an hour. That was the first any of us have heard about it. It's definitely something, I don't want to say concerning, but it's definitely something that kind of piques their interest. Hopefully it's just minor. But yeah, when you're talking elbow, especially with a young guy, you start to get nervous.
The other thing I'm interested in is Tobias Myers is called up. Now, I said earlier, and I think it's right, that I don't think Murphy really trusts Tobias Myers at this point this year as much as he did last year. So Murphy's decided that they're going to start Tobias Myers. What I'm kind of interested in is to see how much lack of trust there really is. Is this going to be one time through the lineup for Tobias, and then they piggyback him with somebody from the bullpen to go second time through the lineup, or does he trust them and let him get to the 5th or 6th inning coming up tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it all depends on how well he gets through that first time through the lineup. We've had the same questions, too. Does Murph still have the trust he has in Tobias? Because he had a rather short hook when he came back up here earlier this year. I think it's all going to depend. If he blows through his first inning or two without much of a challenge, without nibbling too much, without tunneling too much, then I think they ride him for a little bit. If he's kind of tap dancing and that count's getting up there and he's not putting guys away efficiently, I think they have a quick hook.
Talking with Andrew Wagner, Forbes Sports, as we go inside the clubhouse. Andrew Wagner down at American Family Field getting ready for Brewers and Mets tonight, looking like a probable sellout tonight for that one. You're going to talk with Shelby Miller coming up here briefly, the reliever the Brewers traded for at the deadline. He comes after a rehab outing where he struck out the side for the Nashville Sounds. What can we expect out of Shelby Miller, do you think, going forward here, coming off of that injury?
It's hard to say because he hasn't pitched in a while, and he hasn't pitched well over the last couple of years. He's definitely not the flame-throwing, fireballer, dominant source that he was when he was coming up with the Cardinals. But he's been able to show that in short bursts. I think his pitching makeup, the style that he pitches, relies on a couple of different kinds of fastballs with a little bit of off-speed breaking stuff. It fits right into the Brewers' pitching philosophy, right? That's what they like. They like guys that pepper the zone with fastballs and have the right off-speed and breaking stuff to keep guys honest. And you use that in limited doses, and you get a lot of success. I think by that metric, I think Shelby Miller is a great addition to this bullpen. But what we're going to see of him, it's hard to say because it's been, at least a month since he's been on a big league mound.
The other name that I'm intrigued by that got put out in the transactions today from the Brewers as well is Robert Gasser, now getting a rehab outing, it looks like, at AAA Nashville. He's kind of been the forgotten man all year long. Nobody's talked about him being a player in this postseason roster for the Brewers or how he fits in. But if Robert Gasser is pitching like he did before his injury, he may force his way onto a postseason roster.
Yeah, that's the kind of wild card right now. What is Robert Gasser going to bring you? Now they're stretching him out right now to be a starter, so they have that arrow in their quiver if they need it. But if they don't have a room from the rotation, which it seems like they won't, that's a pretty nasty arm to have available out of the bullpen, especially if he can give you multiple innings. You're looking at a situation where the Brewers could have a cavalcade of guys in their bullpen capable of giving you a little bit of length. That's a huge weapon to have.
Are we looking at a situation where Quintana doesn't make the postseason roster for some reason because of, he's really not that bullpen arm necessarily. He's not one of the top 3 starters either, and they want some of these young flamethrowers in the bullpen, and essentially then he becomes an extension of the coaching staff, I would assume at that point, if he's not on the roster.
I was thinking about that the other day because with how well some of these other guys are pitching, where does he really fit? That's a tough one. And I'm trying to see a universe in which, Jose Quintana, the veteran guy, is not on your roster, at least for the first round. You assume the Brewers are going to get out of the wild card round and probably go into right to the NLDS. Okay, well, now you're looking at 5 games. You're still looking at a short rotation, probably 3-4 guys at the max. Even still, Quintana's not one of your 4 guys. I think if they advance to a 7-game series, I think Quintana's in there. But it's hard to see a spot for him right now, which is kind of ludicrous to say.
I got one for you. Tim Dillard was on yesterday, like he always is, FanDuel Sports Network, Wisconsin Brewers analyst, out here at State Fair with me having his cheese curd tacos yesterday. And we were talking about this rotation and ranking arms in the postseason. And he said that if it was him, Priester would be one of the 3 starting pitchers and Mizorowski would be coming out of the pen. If I take that a step further, Could the Brewers justify starting Quintana as the third starter and bringing Priester, who's pitched out of the pen, and bringing Mizorowski, both of those two guys out of the pen in a playoff series?
I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. You're limited in what you can do with the pitching staff. Because don't forget, along with the roster limits, you have the pitcher limits in there. I think it's like 12 or 13.
Right.
It's going to be really hard. That's what it comes down to. It is going to be really hard for Arnold in the front office and for Murphy to sit down and come up with a roster that's both the best team possible and fair to the guys that got you there. There are going to be guys that are going to have to be left out.
He is Drew Wagner. We will let him run. He's got to get over to talk to Shelby Miller, hear that conversation along with Pat Murphy, who's going to talk here in a little bit as well. Both those conversations on our leadoff show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, coming up tonight, 6 o'clock, 1 hour before every game, before the first pitch. Tommy Wirtz with you, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Mr. Wagner, thank you so much.
Go have some milk for me, buddy. I'll drink milk no matter the weather.
I'm with you. Take care. There he is. He joins us on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. What do you think about that idea that we were just talking about, Quintana maybe as that third starter, and then Mizorowski and Priester out of the pen, Charlie?
He's the playoff guy that we've talked about since the Brewers have given him that contract, since they signed him. This is what we were talking about, him playing in the playoffs for this team. And it makes sense to me. I would say if he's not in that playoff rotation, if I'm being completely honest, then what was the point of keeping him at the trade deadline? I think that was kind of what with all these guys coming back healthy now, you're getting all these players, you made a couple other trades. If he's not going to be in that playoff rotation, then he shouldn't be on this team.
And I don't know what you think about this, but for me, I don't want to put him in the bullpen. I just don't think his stuff really plays coming out of the bullpen as much as, we pointed out, these guys that can bring the gas and throw the heat. We were talking about getting Eugenio Suarez at the deadline, right? And we found that stat about Suarez can't hit a damn fastball over like 95, 96 miles an hour. It was horrible. Since Suarez got to the Mariners, he hit a home run right off the bat. He's been striking out at an alarming pace for the Seattle Mariners since they got him. He's not the only guy in the league that can hit an above-average fastball. That is why so many of these bullpens right now are investing money in these arms that can throw 98, 99, 100 miles an hour to see what happens. Now, once in a while, a guy like Mason Miller is going to get a 104 mile an hour pitch hit onto the park on a fine, and then it becomes a big story. That's going to happen. But more times than not, that pitcher is going to have success because a lot of guys, most guys in Major League Baseball aren't catching up to that, especially if it's a high fastball at that speed on a game-to-game basis. Quintana, on the other hand, isn't throwing hard, but he knows how to pitch, right? He knows how to nibble around the zone, get swing and strikes out of the zone, and that type of stuff. So he's smart, and that's why you want to keep him around, is to help educate the younger guys. They're going to be on this postseason roster. I just can't convince myself to bring him out of the pen, Charlie.
No, and I don't think I can either, especially, again, with all the other arms that you have in that bullpen that are pitching well already. There's no reason to move around a guy like Jared Koenig or a guy like Abner Uribe or a Nick Mears, any of these players that have been pitching well, just to put a Jose Quintana somewhere into this playoff lineup. So, again, if it's not going to be in the starting lineup, then I don't think there's a spot for him on this team in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with you on that as well. The other thing, too, that's been brought up is this whole Tobias Myers thing now, him going into this rotation. When you have an injury like you do to Logan Henderson now with elbow inflammation and Henderson now headed to the IL, Tobias Myers now has to start tomorrow night, Logan Henderson's not going to be on this postseason roster even if he's healthy. If it's me, I'm super conservative. I'd rather just shut him down and be done. Call it a day. I know we're in the beginning of August, but these minor leagues are going to be wrapping up their seasons here within the next month or so. I think I'd rather shut him down and bring him back next year and not worry about this anymore. I don't think I'm trying to rush him back to pitch in the minor leagues when you're dealing with an elbow issue like apparently they are with Logan Henderson.
I think we know what we have in a Logan Henderson. What we've seen from him at the major league level and the 2 stints that he's gotten this season have been electric. It's what it is. And I don't think that he is a player that really truly needs to show anymore. It kind of feels like Robert Gasser from last year. When he went down with that injury, there was never a point in my mind where I thought, okay, when he does eventually come back from this injury, he's automatically going to be a minor league guy. I figured he was going to be a major league guy right when he comes back because of how fantastic he was in that short time he spent at the major league level. Logan Henderson kind of feels the same way to me.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Charlie, use it. See Sparky Fifer with you out here at the Wisconsin State Fair right outside the Expo building. And you love Taki Fuego chips? Listen up because you've never had them like this before. Wendy's new Taki Fuego meals are here. The Sammy has the Taki Fuego chip intensity you love piled up on one of their fan-favorite spicy chicken sandwiches with Taki Fuego chips, chili lime sauce, and creamy corn spread. The small Fuego fries get tossed in an intense chili lime seasoning. It's almost like this meal couldn't take any more Taki Fuego chip intensity. That's where the extra 1 ounce bag of Taki Fuego chips on the side comes in. Well, while supplies last. You can grab this Taki Fuego meal at Wendy's, open midnight or later, limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. You're going to take a quick time out. I'll come back on the other side, and we really haven't touched necessarily the Green Bay Packers all that much. We will talk more about the Packers coming up at 4 o'clock. Our Green and Gold update brought to you and powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook comes up at 4 o'clock. A disturbing piece of audio from a backup or former backup quarterback in the NFL that I think has a lot of fans, I don't know about players, fans raising their eyebrows as to what the hell is going on in the NFL. We'll get to that coming up in the next segment. Quick story on the way out, Charlie, if you got a couple seconds.
Sure.
So as Charlie knows, I'm old. He's young, and that's the dynamic on the show, and it works well, and we help each other out in whatever the struggles we may be having. So I'm out here yesterday. My buddy who lives across the street for me in Oak Creek texts me. He's like, hey, I'm almost there. Hold on. Fine. So I sit here. We get all done. We pack everything up, and literally we're almost done. He finally walks up. Hey, what's going on? Blah, 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 blah. We talk. I said, all right, man, I got to run to the restroom, and then I'm going to get out of here. All right, sounds good. So then I come back, and another buddy who I haven't seen in, oh, man, I don't know, 10, 12 years, 20 years, whatever, it's been a long time. Like, hey, what's up, man? Blah, 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 blah. You know what this dude says to me? He looks at me and goes, oh, man, I didn't even recognize you, man. You got so much gray hair now. I was like, really? That's how you treat me after all these years? And then he takes off his head and goes, dude, look, I shaved all my hair off. I was like, what does that mean? You don't got to take shots of my gray hair first time you see me and talk to me in all these years. Like, that wasn't very nice or pleasant, I don't think, Charlie. I mean, he's older than I am, for God's sakes. It's still.
I mean, then he knows what great hair looks like, and he's got to point out, maybe you should shave it off, too.
No.
You're not going bald, Sparky? You're not a bald guy?
Man, they would be like some type of weird object just walking around State Fair. We're picking it up on the radar, but we can't determine what it is. Are you kidding me? My giant head, you want me to
Taking
shave
down
it?
airplanes with the shine on that thing? Yeah.
Man, there'll be like drones landing on my head thinking it's a landing pad. I'm not shaving my head. You're out of your damn mind. There's no chance that's happening.
Add it to the toy drive bucket list. You know, if we get a big enough donation, Come on, Sparky.
Zero chances that is going to happen. A mohawk, I may do a mohawk again. It's been years since I pulled off my mohawk. I may go back to a mohawk at some point when my kid, my 9-year-old, wants to do a mohawk again. He does mohawks all the time, too. But I said, I'll do one with you the next time you do a mohawk. So I may pull off a mohawk, and y'all can laugh at me for my mohawk at some point. We'll talk about this disturbing audio from this former NFL quarterback. I'm telling you, if you're a fan and you heard this, you're going to be like, what is going on in the NFL? We'll talk about that next. Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy's. Live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook at the Wisconsin State Fair. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, summed up by Wendy's. Live at the Wisconsin State Fair. Come on out, say hi right here by the Expo building as you're walking in. I don't know if you heard that promo. It's been running on the air for a little bit now, but we haven't really talked about it on air. Louis' Last Regatta event coming up on September 27th to benefit Children's Wisconsin. I was a part of it for the first time last year. Absolutely fell in love with it. And what it is it's a sailboat race. There's 150 sailboats. Still time for you to register your sailboat. It can be of any size. It can be a super small one. It can be a real big one. They have all these divisions that you can race in and so forth. And then the after party, when the race is done, that kicks off at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Sunday, September 27th at the South Shore Yacht Club. Everyone is invited, even if you aren't racing. Even if you're not racing or don't know anybody in a boat, you can come out and hang out after. They do a rum pour, which is literally glasses of free rum until they run out, and you get in line and you just keep going around and around. It's amazing. So you've got that going on. You've got food trucks. You've got auctions like basket auctions or whatever you can buy raffle tickets for. You have a real auction going on as well. I can't tell you all of the real auction items, but one of them is a stay at some villas in Italy. Is one of the auction items. I think another one might have something to do with going to see Mickey maybe down in Florida. So there's all kinds of cool things going on. Plus, we have a DJ out there. We're playing music. The people on the boats dress up in costumes, and there's a costume contest. Last year there was a boat filled with dancing Elvises. It was amazing. So I'm telling you, it's a blast. It's a lot of fun. If you're looking for something to do, go online, Children's Wisconsin's website. Check out Louis' Last Regatta right there under the events tab, and you will have an absolute blast from 3 to 7 o'clock at the South Shore Yacht Club. Right down there by the lake, Saturday, September 27th. And all benefits Children's Wisconsin. You see a bunch of cool sailboats and the whole deal. It's awesome. All right. I want to go to Charlie here. This is disturbing audio. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, I've played in the NFL. I know what they're supposed to say. I haven't played in the NFL. I've talked about the NFL, covered the NFL for, 30, 35 years? So I got a good idea of how this is supposed to go. I've never heard a quarterback say this in my life. Charlie, who is this, and set this up?
So this is former NFL quarterback Kyle Sloter. He played for the Minnesota Vikings for a few years between 2018 and 2021 just as a practice squad quarterback for them. But in the preseason, he was a guy that a lot of Vikings fans loved. A lot of just football fans thought he played really well in the preseason and was just never really given an opportunity with the team, especially when they had a guy like Kirk Cousins that they were paying a lot of money to. He was doing this on a podcast called Victory with Nick. He was on there discussing his experience as a backup quarterback in the NFL. Here is Kyle Sloter discussing expectations for backup quarterbacks in the NFL.
I was told when I was with the Vikings at one point that I needed to do less, that I needed to go out there and be worse in the preseason.
Crazy.
Because it was creating an atmosphere that was not what they wanted. They don't want competition between a backup quarterback and a starter. They don't want any controversy. They don't want those things, especially when you have a lot of guaranteed money on a guy that is going to play no matter what. I have had people tell me that in order to make it as a backup in the league year after year after year, you have to play like a backup, and it just was never me. It was never me to not go out there and compete. It was never me to go out there and not feel like, hey, if I'm not the starter, my mindset is I'm going to be the starter someday. I'm going to be better than the starter.
Now, if I was a Vikings fan, which thank God I'm not, but if I rooted for that organization, I would be freaking livid. I'd be talking to everybody about this. That's all I would be doing in Minnesota right now. Screw training camp. I want to talk about this story right here. And depending on what type of fan you are, and again, if you're a Vikings fan, I feel sorry for you anyhow, but if you hear that story, you're either going to go one of two ways. Either that's unbelievable and my organization sucks. That's the first thing you're probably thinking as a Vikings fan. The second thing that you might be thinking is, he's lying. He's making it up. Some hack backup. Maddie's not in the league anymore. Screw that dude. Nobody even knows who that dude is anymore. Just shut up and quit making stuff up about our organization. Because let's face facts. If you don't hear something an insider says, you go at them the same way. So I would assume there's a bunch of Vikings fans calling him a liar, don't believe him, don't want to hear about him. Charlie, you didn't play in the NFL, but you've played high school and college football for 4 or 5 years. How long were you in school? 6 years?
I was in school for 3.5 years.
Smarty pants. Smarty pants. And then you get to come work for me. That's like going backwards in your career. It's okay. So let's talk a little bit about this comment made by this dude and what it says to you as a guy that played and busted your butt.
I will say at the Division III level, you obviously didn't have the same kind of pressure surrounding you as a player or as a coaching staff. So I think that's kind of the one thing that I have to point out here is that I think this is only something that you probably truly hear at the NFL or the Division I level when it comes to football. And I think that it also probably doesn't happen all that often. When you are the Minnesota Vikings who were paying a Kirk Cousins all that money that they were paying.
Hold on, stop.
All right?
Stop. I got a ball dude out here, an aging ball dude out here, and he wants me to sign a shirt at the State Fair, one of our relief pitcher shirts.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Now, I happen to know this guy, my old landlord. I'm looking at him as you're talking. I'm like, no, I'm not signing your dumb shirt. I'm not doing it. Well, and then it got disturbing, and I got distracted. So then he lifted up at his shirt, right, and wants me to sign his belly or something, and that also was disturbing.
You wouldn't sign his shirt. That's the next best option.
I paid the man rent. I'm not signing a shirt for him. If I was that big of a star, I would have got to live there for free. Right?
That's also true. That's also true.
And now he wants an autograph. Man, get out of here. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So going back to what I was talking about with this quarterback situation, and again, I don't think this is something that happens very often. I think this is something that when you are in a situation where a coaching staff is feeling pressure from a front office, again, especially with a guy like Kirk Cousins who was making a lot of money with the Minnesota Vikings during his time there, this is something that I think for a guy like Kyle Sloter who is playing well in the preseason, you also have to look at yourself and say, you know what, this is a guy that started at Southern Miss, then transferred to Northern Colorado University, and then was an undrafted free agent getting a shot in the NFL at this point here. I really don't think that even if you did perform well in the preseason, that the chances of you all of a sudden becoming a starting quarterback in the NFL were just going to change because of 2 or 3 performances that you had. And I don't think it's right for the coaching staff to go there and tell him to play worse or not to play up to the potential that he has. At the same time, I think they're also maybe saving you a little bit from getting those types of expectations because you think you're better and then getting frustrated when that isn't the case. When you could be having a more stable job and you're putting yourself at risk to not have that more stable job, I think that's kind of where the coaches think they're coming from. I'm not saying that's the right way to approach this, and that's not the right way to say that to the player. At the same time, I think they are semi-thinking about the player's best interest in these situations too.
I have a question. Why wouldn't you file a grievance with the Players Association after you say that the Vikings coaches told you to play worse on purpose as to not put pressure on Kirk Cousins? For 3 years they told you to suck on purpose so you didn't create controversy with Kirk Cousins as a starting quarterback. If that was the case, wouldn't you file a grievance with the Players Association and complain to the Players Association about this? Or is this so common in the National Football League that dudes around the league are being told to play downs, so not to compete, not have competition with your starter, that the Players Association should be like, too bad, it happens everywhere, nothing we can do about it?
Well, and I think we have to truly look at the way that he took that message from the coaching staff. And he talks about he had a mindset. He knew that no matter what anybody would say to him, this is how he's going to go about it, and that he's going to always play as hard as he can, always going to have that chip on his shoulder, which also makes me think, you know what, I do kind of want to hear what the coaching staff would have to say about this, how they worded it to him, because I don't know if this is 100% the way they worded it to him, because he seems to have this chip on his shoulder and kind of a grievance with the Vikings in this situation, that he doesn't feel like the coaching staff gave him the best shot to go out there and do what he can do. So I want to hear a whole story.
What I don't understand is, if he's right,
Mm-hmm.
Let's say he dialed it back a little bit. Oddly gone. Not backup anywhere. He's not that old. Not a backup anywhere, right? Not playing with anybody. If he was playing hard, did other teams hold it against him and say, hey, man, like, we know what they told you, and you still went out there and did what you wanted to do anyhow. You're not coachable. We're not interested. Good luck to you doing something else in your life. Because we talk about it all the time, right? Do players get blackballed in sports? Is there collusion in sports? Well, this cat here, that would be something I'd be very interested in investigating and fact-finding on as far as what happened to this dude.
So with Kyle Sloter, you look at his career timeline here. He first signed in the NFL in 2017 with the Denver Broncos, then signed with the Minnesota Vikings, was with the Minnesota Vikings through 2020, or 2019, excuse me, then was with the Arizona Cardinals, then was with the Detroit Lions, then was with the Chicago Bears on the practice squad, then was on the Las Vegas Raiders practice squad, and then was back on the Minnesota Vikings practice squad in 2022. He got opportunities. It's not like those first couple of years in the league was all that he had and all the chances that he got. Yes, this is something that I think you hear from the coaching staff, or you hear from a player like this, you say, you know what, that's wrong from the coaching staff. But also at the same time, he had opportunities elsewhere and didn't make anything of it there too. So again, how much of this is just the way he thinks about himself as a player and kind of changing or shuffling around the way that the coaches brought this about to him and putting this out there, or is it true? And I think I'm leaning more towards this is him kind of changing the story a little bit.
So let me tell you a quick story time real quick, about the fan and our history, right? So we've been on the air since, well, I mean, outside of a couple of years, a year and a half, 2 years where we were just satellite radio, but we're still on the air technically. So back in the day, we had a host at our radio station. I'm not going to say who it is. He's still in the radio business, still doing his thing, successful, whatever. And he would always come to me, Sparky, I don't want to go on vacation. What do you mean, dog? Like, you're married. Like, take your wife, go on vacation. Do what you got to do. No, man, he was petrified that the fill-in was going to be better than him maybe, and then when he got back, that the PD would decide to make a change, and then he wouldn't have a job because he left and the next guy was better. I mean, that is how he lives, and he's been that way as long as I've known him. Petrified of losing his job. At every turn, he was petrified of losing his job, right? I don't know how you live that way, but that's how he lives, and that's how he goes about it. Could you imagine a PD coming to you, Charlie, and being like, hey, man, Sparky is going to be off for a week, right? We know you're really good, but we can't afford to get out of Sparky's deal, blah, 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 blah. So we need you just to dial it back a little bit, kind of go more through the motions. Don't really push it so much with the entertainment value, because we don't want anybody, saying that you should be in there instead of Sparky and creating a whole big thing on social media. I can't even imagine asking somebody to do that and feeling good about myself and going to sleep at night. I think I would quit if anybody asked me to do that to anybody on the air.
No, and I don't think I can imagine doing that. I think I'd be pretty frustrated if somebody said that to me. But I also don't think that's why we're currently in those decision-making spots. I think that's a hard conversation that in some industries you do have to have. I think in the NFL, this is something that, again, the GM, the head coach, is trying to save their jobs too. They're making a lot of money that they don't want to lose either. And if you go out there and, again, a undrafted quarterback on his second team is going to go ball out more than your starting quarterback that you guaranteed a lot of money to because you believe in him and the president of the team believed in you and the owner of the team believed in the president of the team, got a lot of people on your shoulders in that situation. And I think you don't want to get shown up and lose your job because you got shown up by an undrafted guy.
Charlie, use it over there. Steve Sparky Fifer over here. Out at the Wisconsin State Fair as we're broadcasting live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Coming up on the other side, Charlie's Sounds of the Day. We did not mention the new Brewers thing. I feel like every day the Brewers have a new promotion coming out. This one is a food promotion. The Brewers are serving up something sweet and satisfying with the launch of Murph's Pocket Pancakes. I'll be honest.
I like it.
When I read it, I was like, this might be all right. Like, if you're going to give me a plastic bag or some type of container with like 4 plain pancakes in it that I can put into my pocket and eat whenever I want throughout the game, that might be all right. But then I read on, and then I was like, this is not what it says. Inspired by the Skipper's Snack Stash, as we all know, Murphy eats pizza and pancakes apparently during games, the Ball 4 Pocket Pack includes 4 pocket pancakes and a choice of maple syrup or strawberry compote dipping sauce for $4.99. Could you imagine how messy that would be in the dugout if this dude is dipping pancakes in syrup at that point?
I mean, you can't just have a dry pancake, Sparky.
Yes, that's what he's eating.
Yeah,
he is eating dry pancakes. That's what it should be. If we're going to call it Murph's Pancakes, don't be offering up. But wait, it gets better. Hold on. That's not it. They also will have the double chicken and pancakes pocket pack. He's definitely not eating that. Includes 2 chicken tender stuffed pancakes topped with chopped bacon and a sweet maple syrup drizzle for $7.99. That is definitely not going into that man's pockets. That is a mess is what that is. It's a delicious mess, I'm sure, but that's a mess.
That'd be worth the mess. I would put a couple of those in my pocket if I had to. That would sound delicious.
Hey man, look, I'm just saying. Like I give them an A+ for creativity and all of that, and trying to make something out of it with the pocket pancakes. And I'm sure both of those will be delicious. But yeah, 4 plain pancakes, you get nothing with it, and it's like $1 or $2, super cheap. Here you go. I bet you people would line up for 4 plain pancakes for $2 at American Family Field. Want to bet?
Probably. I don't want to bet because I agree with you. I'm with you on that. Yeah.
You give me something under $5 that can kind of fill me up, I'm in. I'll figure it out how to eat it. I'm in because everything is so expensive everywhere you go to eat now. I mean, if you go to a restaurant, sit down and order a bowl of spaghetti. A bowl of spaghetti. If you were to make that at home, that's what, like $4, $5, whatever. You get a bowl of spaghetti now at an Italian restaurant. What is it, $20 for a bowl of spaghetti? Get the heck out of here. They pay $20 for a bowl of pasta. You're out of your mind. Not happening. So yeah, if you offered me 4 pocket pancakes at the Brewers game for like, I don't know, $2, that's plain, I get no syrup, no nothing. Yeah, I'm in. All day. Charlie, sounds of the day coming up next is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the State Fair here on The Fan. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin State Fair as we broadcast outside the Expo building, looking over at the Milk House. We got to get to Charlie's Sounds of the Day shortly. Had Travis come up, wear a big Brewer shirt. Come over, he's like, Steve? I was like, yeah, man, what's up? So a guy, again, that used to listen to the station all the time and so forth, didn't know we were back up and going again. And then he was telling me a story. He went to go pick up his daughter from school. And Ryan Creaky, who's a principal over at Pius, heard my voice. He's like, hey, is that Sparky? You listening to Sparky? So apparently he's a big sports talk listener. So what's up, Ryan Creaky, if you're checking us out? I mean, it's summer vacation, right? Is Pius back in school yet? I know there are some schools that start earlier. Charlie, when did you used to go back to school?
Like August 17th, 18th, I feel like a little middle of
Really?
August. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
End of August, middle of August, yeah.
So we're in Oak Creek. None of our kids have ever gone back that early. Our kids always go back after Labor Day. We've never had an early start, middle of August. Most of these schools don't even have AC in them. Aren't you, like, frying in school in the middle of August?
It's not too bad.
Really?
You survive, yeah.
Because I remember seeing MPS having heat days in years past in August because it was so hot outside and they had no air conditioning.
We definitely had heat days for, like, football, but never for school. Like, it was always, you were fine in school, but, like, football, you couldn't go out and practice if it was too hot.
Huh. All right, let's get to your favorite segment.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on The Fan.
All right, here we go. Charlie's Sounds of the Day. Top 3 clips that he found from around the world of sports. What are the top 3 clips today, Charlie?
All right, so first up, we're going to head back to the sports reporters where Shams Charania was also talking about his work-life balance. I wanted to play this one a little bit, too, because it gives you kind of an insight to what it's like to be one of these insiders.
I've had to walk out on dates. Like, I've had to walk out on, like, social events, a lot of social events.
Very well.
My friends don't really like me. You know, that's why it's very hard to have a consistent relationship because it's just like, you know, the time that requires and you know the time that they deserve rightfully. And there's just moments where I'm just always going to choose this as of right now. The one thing that I do, like how I'm able to get away is just family time. Now, again, I might not be fully present during those moments. Like, we were literally playing pickleball. This is right before free agent. This is the weekend before free agency started. I lasted 10 minutes on the court. They were there for maybe an hour and a half. I was just literally pacing on the field for whatever it was, 50, 60 minutes, because that's just what it is. And so, but just trying to be present. And I think my family is gracious enough to where, like, as long as I'm in their presence, they don't make me feel bad. And I think having those types of people around me is what, you know, allows me to keep going.
I'll tell you this. I'm not an insider, but I do this for a living. And I'm on my phone all the time. And my family, not nearly as understanding as apparently his family is about always being on the phone and looking at stuff and trying to stay on top of everything to be on top of our game doing the sports talk show. I know Tommy Wirtz. He lives, eats, breathes, and sleeps all this stuff too because he's single, cold, and lonely, which I get. I was there. I know how that works. Got nothing else to do, so you just focus on this, which I love about Tommy. Did you know, by the way, Charlie, that people call him Thomas? Did you know? Like, we're the only ones that call this dude Tommy?
I didn't know that. He told me that during a Wisconsin Sports Weekend one time.
He did?
I was intrigued, yeah. It's very strange. I don't get called Charles by anybody.
No, because you shouldn't. I mean, because, again, this is like Steven, right? Like, to me, that's like I was making fun of Tommy earlier, like, Thomas Wirtz, you're next for your reservation at the whatever fancy foo-foo steak restaurant or whatever the case may be. Next up, and, you know, I don't know. I can't even think of an example. But you just picture a Thomas, like, hanging out on a private island with his, like, girlfriend that's, like, 20 years younger than him. He's, like, 60. She's, like, 40 or 30. And that's kind of what you picture. I'm my guy Tommy here. I mean, that's shots and beers and Cudahy at the corner bar, the Brickyard or whatever, doing your thing. That's what makes a Tommy more so than a Thomas, Charlie.
I think so. But at the same time, growing up, I think I knew more Thomases than I didn't know Tommies. I had maybe like 1 to 2 friends that were Tommy and maybe 5 to 6 friends that were Thomas. It's a very popular name. But
my best friend growing up was named Thomas. I called him Tommy my whole life. I still call him Tommy when I talk to him. on the phone. He's a damn lawyer, so he could be Thomas now if he wanted to be, I guess, but hasn't gone that way. So, yeah, it's just funny. It's tough, I think, for people that do what we do to a certain degree. If you strive to be really good, and if you want to be kind of at that next level, to kind of be present all the time for everything that's going on, especially when a trade happens, a firing happens, something big is going on, and you're trying to stay in the moment, but you also know there's kind of a responsibility to your job of reacting on social media or trying to find out more information and texting people or whatever the case may be. It's not like them, right? We're not making millions, so it's not to that level where they are in the middle of the night, 3, 4. I go to bed.
Right.
I'm not getting woken up at 4 a.m. I'll tell you that much. They, on the other hand, can, right? They always have to have, their phone on and ready to roll. All right, second clip.
All right, next up here, we're going to hear from former NFL quarterback Chase Daniel as he breaks down probably the biggest news from the NFL last night, or maybe not the biggest news, but the biggest play from the NFL preseason last night. Anthony Richardson getting wrecked on a play that's caused a lot of controversy across social media about whose fault it is on this. Chase Daniel.
Oh, man, who cares? I'm going to cut you off. He sucks. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. He's not any good. Nobody cares. But go ahead and play it anyhow.
All right, look, this is where Anthony Richardson gets hurt. He dislocates his pinky. Hopefully he's going to be okay. But there's a lot of people saying this is on the offensive line or this is on the running back. First of all, the running back is free releasing. It's called scat protection, 5-man protection. This is the protection that's called. Second of all, the center is going to the left. And because it's a 5-man pressure, you see a linebacker blitz. So 90 is left free. And people are like, well, why didn't the right tackle stay on 90? It's called sifting. You're supposed to sift as a right tackle to the most dangerous guy. And they probably teach it in Indianapolis. Hey, the most dangerous guy, you know what? We're going to throw off the outside dude. So the most dangerous guy is the linebacker. Okay? This is completely on Anthony Richardson. First of all, throw into the hot. We've talked about this multiple times. This is day one install. Okay? I know there's a left defensive end dropping up top. Throw the back. You're going to get hit. This is what happens. You're looking at the wrong side. This is not on the running back. This is not on the offensive line. The right tackle, in fact, is doing exactly what he's talking
Stop
to.
it. That's enough. He sucks. That's what I just said. I didn't have to hear him tell me he sucks. I know he sucks. For those of you that don't know, I'm a Packer fan, and I also am a Colts fan. So I watched this idiot last year. When they drafted him, I told Ryan Horvath of BetMGM tonight, weeknights, on the BetMGM radio network, that this was a horrible pick. He tried to sell me, like he always does, that, oh, no, it's a good pick, Sparky. You're going to like him. I loved him at Florida. You're going to love him. And then last year when season time was done, he's like, oh, you might be right about Richardson. And now here we go again. Did you watch any of that game?
I did. I watched.
You did?
Yeah.
I was more excited as a fan to watch Riley Leonard than I was Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson.
It was just insane that, like, this is the quarterback battle that they're having. This play is absolutely nuts. And again, I saw people blaming the offensive tackle on this. There's no way you can possibly blame the offensive tackle. Anthony Richardson is not looking the right way in the first place. He is looking left when the running back is escaping right, and there's a wide open wide receiver on the right side of the field in the same exact play, and he just gets absolutely destroyed. This is insane that they are in this situation right now where they're giving this guy so many opportunities, and he is just not proving himself at this point. And he can't stay healthy basically on his own inability to move around when he was supposed to be an athlete. This is all really strange. On the other side note, I just love listening to former NFL players break down film, or just really anybody break down film. It just is awesome the way that they can read the game sometimes.
I enjoy watching film analysis. I enjoy watching Andy Herman do his film analysis, right? Hear him weekday mornings here on the Fan, 8 to 9, Pack-A-Day Radio, every day talking Packers football. I love Dusty Evely, Acme Pack and Company, Pack-A-Day. He's on all the shows on the station. He is probably my favorite guy to watch is Dusty Evely. He does a great job with it. There are so many guys that do a great job breaking down football film. Speaking of which, coming up on Monday, Mike Wall, former Green Bay Packer offensive lineman, will join us. We'll talk about the preseason game between the Packers and Jets tomorrow night, I believe. We're going to see Jordan Love. We're going to see Justin Fields, too. Oh, man. I'm telling you right now, man, if I was a member of the Jets fan base, I'd go to Friday night church. I know it's not a thing, but I'd go anyhow and start praying. Just start praying that this works out. Because if this doesn't work out, and I don't think it's going to, then you're going to be right back at square one again if you're a Jets fan. But again, Mike Wall will join us, former Packer offensive lineman, will join us coming up on Monday's show. Tune in for that one. And that Packer game's on NFL Network, so everybody across the country is going to see that game coming up tomorrow night. All right, third clip on Charlie's Sounds of the Day.
And last up here, we're going to head over to MLB Network, where Brian Anderson, play-by-play announcer for the Milwaukee Brewers and many other teams across the sports world, discussed what has surprised him most about the 2025 Brewers and who has been the most important player on the field.
Oh, man, it's been awesome. What a ride here. You know, the team, you didn't know what it was going to look like when it started. They were counting on a lot of young guys that, really haven't proven themselves. I call them the land of the misfit toys. Guys that have been DFA'd, released, a lot of second chancers, third chancers. So you never know how that's going to work out. But I would say that there are great stories and a ton of individual stories. And kudos to you guys. You guys have done a great job covering the Brewers. I will say, though, building the formula from the bullpen, from the back to the front, is always going to be a success story if you do it right, and that is no different this year. So to me, the guy who deserves probably the most credit, among the players is Trevor McGill. Trevor McGill stepping up, locking down that ninth inning role. And this goes back a few years. Remember, Josh Hader traded from the Astros. He was a starter. They developed him into a closer. Hader, and then Hader to Devin Williams. You could even back it up to Trevor Hoffman, to John Axford. I mean, this has always been a theme with the Brewers to build their bullpen, because once you build that and you can get those last three guys set up, your leverage guys, then you can pretty much start to formulate everything else. It allows you to come back in games when you're down. It obviously allows you to win games when you're up. So kudos to everybody involved who put that bullpen together. Starts with McGill. Uribe's a future closer. Jared Koenig's been amazing. So that's really the secret sauce. All these other guys are getting a lot of publicity, and they deserve it, but that's really where it starts for me.
I love it. Listening to Brian Anderson talk baseball, I could listen to BA talk baseball all day. Probably anything, if we're being honest. He could read a newspaper to me and I'd be entertained. But I agree with you that the bullpen is definitely where it starts and ends. And for whatever the reason, this goes back prior to David Stearns, prior to Matt Arnold. This team has always been able to find closers out of thin air that weren't very good and turn them into closers. Danny Kolb, Derek Turnbow, right? I mean, there's so many guys that you can look at that before and after were never the same player, but for whatever reason in Milwaukee did it. K-Rod, right? Towards the end of his career. He came here, he was great.
Awesome.
He left, went to Baltimore, sucked, came back,
Corey
hit straight
Knebel.
again. Corey Knebel is another one, right? I mean, from that perspective, they've always done that well in Milwaukee, regardless of who the coaches were, who the GMs were. Matt Arnold deserves a ton of credit. But again, the master is Chris Hook. The Brewers pitching coach is the master of class when it comes to pitching coaches in Major League Baseball. They just gave him an extension prior to the year starting. Thank God. I hope it was a lifetime extension. They never said how many years it was. I'd give him a lifetime extension. I don't need to see any more. I know he's good, and if he has a bad year, it happens. I'm not too concerned about it, but that's my guy I'll ride and die with going forward for the Milwaukee Brewers. That's three, right?
That is three, yes.
That is three. Speaking of the Brewers, did you know they have shuttles going now from the Potawatomi Sportsbook over to Brewers home games, and it starts today. Today is day one. Brewers game day shuttles hitch a ride to home games. All you got to do is secure your seat with any purchase in the sportsbook or same-day sports bet. Seating is limited and on a first-come, first-service basis. It starts 1 hour before the game. That's when you can start taking the shuttle rides back and forth between Potawatomi and American Family Field, and it ends 1 hour after the game. So when the game gets done, get out there to get on that shuttle to get yourself back to the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And as I've said before, listen, why not bet the Brewers at this point, right? They win all the time. So you bet the Brewers, you go to the game, they win, you come back, you cash your ticket, and you're ahead of the game before you even get home for the night. It's a beautiful thing. Secondly, even if you don't cash, you save money because you're not paying for parking at the field. You get free parking at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's a win-win situation, Charlie.
it's huge, man. It's no better deal, no better shuttle. It's right there at the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Absolutely right. Steve Sparky Fifer with you. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy's. Live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM the Fan Studios. Powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook out here at the Wisconsin State Fair. Right outside the Expo building looking over at the Milk House. The last hour for the Fan out here at the State Fair. We've been out here since last Thursday. This will wrap it up here in the next hour or so. So that's going to be sad. But good news is I'm going home and coming back. So if you see me walking around the fair with the family, don't be afraid to say hi and so forth. I am not signing bellies or anything else like my landlord wanted. My former landlord wanted. No, I'm not doing that. I'll sign shirts. I signed this shirt just so you'd go away. But again, yeah, normally no, that's not. It's not going to be a thing. Coming up on the other side, we'll get to our green and gold update, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and the Packers and Jets play an exhibition game tomorrow night. Matt LaFleur has already said he expects all four quarterbacks to play, which means we're going to see Jordan Love tomorrow night against the Jets. We're going to see the starters against the Jets tomorrow night. When Rodgers was here, we never got to see this. So that's going to be fun. But really, who's got the most to gain tomorrow night, right? Who can really take that big step forward in the depth chart, providing on how they play tomorrow night? We'll discuss that next here on The Fan.